Hi everyone. Rule 10 is going to be a kind of a long one, so I decided to separate the Rule 9 and Rule 10 videos. Rule 9 deals with identical names, and so it tells us when personal names and names of businesses or institutions or organizations are identical, okay, then the next filing unit is going to be determined by the address. So after the actual business name would come the city name and then the name of the state. And if you have to go even further than that, it would go on to the street name. There's a lot of information regarding rule number 9 in chapter 5 of the e-text, especially when you get to the using the names of streets and buildings to figure out filing order. So I'm going to go over just a simple one right now. So here we have the Seaside Inn, and the city is Oceanside, California is the state. So when we're given identical names and the same cities or states, our key unit, and we're going to file this first by the business name. So Seaside is our key unit, Inn is unit 2. So once you have the filing segment, next is the city and then the state. Okay, for this one we have Seaside Inn. Oops. Oceanside is unit 3. And then unit 4 is going to be New Jersey. Okay, for this one we have Seaside Inn, which is located in Oceanside, Washington. Then we also have a Seaside Inn that's located in Ventura, California. Also one in Walnut, California. And then Westwood, California. Okay, and these examples happen to already be in order, where we have the key units, unit 2s, those all match up. And for unit 3, to figure out the filing order, okay, we would look at the first letter in unit 3. And so here we have the O in Oceanside would all be filed before the V in Ventura and the W in Walnut and Westwood. Okay, notice that Westwood is after Walnut because WE comes after WA. Okay, and because we have 3 ocean sides, we then need to look at the states. So the C in California is before the N in New Jersey, and the N in New Jersey is before the W in Washington. Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to go over Rule 10. So Rule 10 is actually divided up into a few different segments. The first one being Rule 10A, which deals with local and government names. And so there's more information regarding this in Chapter 5 of the e-text. And so when you're dealing with local and regional government names, the first indexing unit or your key unit is always going to be the county, city, town, or village name. Okay, next would be the most distinctive name of the department or the board or bureau or office. And so if we take a look at this first example, our filing segment is Warren County Sheriff's Department. So the name of the county is Warren County. So Warren is my key unit, county is unit 2, and then Sheriff's Department. Okay, there shouldn't have been an apostrophe there. Okay, and so for the next one, we have Douglas City Library. So the name of my city is Douglas, which will be my key unit. City is unit 2, library is unit 3. Okay, for letter B, we have City of Douglas Water Bureau. So remember, the first indexing unit is the actual name of the county, city, town, township, or village. And in that case, Douglas is the name of the city. Okay, so Douglas. Unit 2 is city, and then unit 3 is of. And we use of last because it's the least important part of the city name. Okay, and then finally, we have water as unit 4 and bureau as unit 5. For letter C, we have Douglas County Emergency Services. So the name of the county is Douglas. County is unit 2. Emergency is unit 3. Services is unit 4. For letter D, we have Douglas City Human Resources Department. So the name of the city is Douglas. Unit 2 is city. Unit 3 is human. Unit 4 is resources. And unit 5 is department. For letter E, we have City of Douglas Public Library. So this is similar to letter B. We want to use our key unit as the actual name of the city, which is Douglas. Unit 2 is city. Of is unit 3. Then we have public library. Letter F is Douglas County Public Works Department. So Douglas is the name of the county. And then we have Public Works Department. Okay, for letter G, we have Douglas City Hall. Douglas is still the city name. City is unit 2, hall is unit 3. Okay, for letter H, we have Douglas County Circuit Court. The name of the county is Douglas. Unit 3 is going to be circuit. Unit 4 is going to be court. Okay, same thing for letter I. The name of the county is Douglas, which is our key unit. County is unit 2. And then the name of the agency is going to be last. So youth is unit 3. Services is unit 4. Agency is unit 5. And then finally, we have Douglas County Welfare Department. So Douglas is our key unit. County is unit 2. Then we have welfare and department. So now let's take a look at Rule 10b, which deals with state government names. Okay, so this is similar to local and regional government agencies, but in this case, the first indexing unit or key unit is the actual name of the state or province. Okay, and then it says you'll then index the most distinctive name of the department, board, bureau, office, or government or political division. So the first one we have is State of Hawaii Department of Health. So remember, the first indexing unit is the name of the state. So that is Hawaii as my key unit. And then just like how we had the City of Douglas, where we did Douglas City of, the next most important part of the filing segment is state. Of is unit 3. Okay. And then you have to take more of that into consideration where it says, then index the most distinctive name of the department, board, bureau, office, or government, or political division. Okay. And so that means that department isn't as important as health. So health is the most distinctive name of the department because you can have a lot of state of Hawaii departments. And so health is, as I said, most important. Okay. And then department is unit 5. And because I don't have too many columns available in my sheet, of is unit 6. And I'll just move that there. Okay, so State of Hawaii Department of Health would be filed as Hawaii State of Health Department of. Okay, for letter B, we have Washington State Department of Transportation. So Washington is the name of the state. Unit 2 is state because that's the next important part of the state name. Okay, and then we need to look at the name of the actual department. So the most important part of the name, or distinctive part, is the transportation. So Unit 3 is transportation, Unit 4 is department, and Unit 5 is of. So Washington State Department of Transportation would be filed as Washington State Transportation Department of. And so again, you'll notice that the first units are the most important. Okay, here we have Washington State Division of Child Support. So the name of the state is Washington. This state is Unit 2. Okay, and the most important part or distinctive part of the division or department name is child support. Okay, so it's the actual name of the department. So child is Unit 3, support is Unit 4, division is Unit 5, and of is Unit 6. Next we have Washington State Office of the Governor. So here Washington is the name of the state. For Unit 3 now, the office's name is, or the most distinctive part of this is governor, because it's the governor's office. So governor is Unit 3, office is Unit 4, of is Unit 5, and the is Unit 6. For letter E, we have Washington State Penitentiary. Washington is our key unit because that's the state name. State is Unit 2, and penitentiary is Unit 3. Okay, we can do the same thing with Washington State Patrol. Okay, next we have Washington State Senate Judiciary Committee. So Washington is still the name of the state. Senate's going to be after state. And then the name of the committee is Judiciary. So that's our next unit. And then we have committee. For letter H, Washington is the name of the state. So that's our key unit. State is Unit 2. Okay, and then we have Department of Veterans Affairs. So the actual name or the most distinctive part of the department is Veterans Affairs. So Veterans is my Unit 3, Affairs is Unit 4, Department is Unit 5, and of is Unit 6. For letter I, we have Washington Secretary of State. So I'm using Washington as my key unit because that's the state name. Okay. And now you're going to have to still use state as Unit 2, and Secretary of is going to be next. So Secretary is Unit 3, of is Unit 4. Okay, next we have State of Hawaii Human Services Department. Okay, and that's similar to letter A. So Hawaii is our key unit. State is Unit 2. Of is Unit 3. So once we have the state information, we'll then go into our department or division. Okay, so human is Unit 4, resources is Unit 5, and department is Unit 6. You notice that there are a lot of these examples, and that's just because it is important for you to get these down. Okay, for this one we have Hawaii State Public Library. The name of the state is Hawaii. State, and then public and library. For letter L, we have Washington State History Museum. So Washington is our key unit. State is Unit 2. Okay. History is Unit 3. And Museum is Unit 4. For Washington State Law Library, Washington is our key unit. State is Unit 2. Law is Unit 3. And Library is Unit 4. Okay, for letter N, we have Washington State Office of Attorney General. Washington is our key unit. State is Unit 2. And the name of the office is the Attorney General's office. So Attorney is our Unit 3. General is Unit 4. Office is Unit 5. And of is Unit 6. Okay, so for this final one, Washington State Marshal's Office, Washington is our key unit, State is Unit 2, Fire is Unit 3, Marshals is Unit 4, and Office is Unit 5. Once you have all of those, you would alphabetize them as we normally do, according to key unit. And then we go to our second, third, fourth, and fifth or sixth if we need to. Okay, so Rule 10C is a little bit more complicated than that. And 10C deals with federal government names. So instead of using units, when you have a federal government name, you use what's called indexing levels. The first level is always going to be United States government. So you can think of level 1 basically as a key unit. So United States government level 1 would be an entire key unit. The next level is the name of the department or top level agency. And then the next or third level would be the most distinctive name. And so let's take a look at some examples here. Okay, because there's a lot of information, I won't expect you to write out United States government as level 1. We're going to assume, because these are all federal government names, that level 1 is United States government. Okay, so next we need to figure out the second level. So remember, the second level is the name of the department or top level agency. So if we have National Cemetery Administration, Department of Veterans Affairs, okay, this is what we want to focus on for level 2. Okay, but we also need to take into consideration the most distinctive part of the department name. So Veterans Affairs is the most important department, and of would be next. So your entire level 2 is Veterans Affairs, Department of. And generally, it's a good idea and good practice to put, if you have of or something like of the, in parentheses. Okay, so level 3, it tells us is the most distinctive name, and that's going to be the National Cemetery Administration. And that one's easy. We can input it exactly as it's written, Cemetery Administration. Okay, so now we have letter A, National Park Service, Department of the Interior. Remember, our level 2 is always going to be the department name. And the most distinctive part of the department name is interior, and then department, and then in parentheses, you're going to want to enter of the or of the. And your level 3 is the next distinctive name, which is National Park Service. Okay, and we're doing it this way because the National Park Service is part of the Department of the Interior. So the Department of the Interior is more important than the National Park Service. So you can think of these as sub-levels, where the Interior Department is below the United States government, and below the Interior Department is the National Park Service. So for letter B, we have Marshal Service and Department of Justice. Again, we want to focus on the department name for level 2. So that's Justice, Department, and in parentheses is of. Level 3 is Marshal's Service. For letter C, we have National Nuclear Security Administration, which is part of the Department of Energy. So this is what I want to focus on for level 2. So energy is the most distinctive name of the department. So Energy Department of is my level 2. For level 3, that's National Nuclear Security Administration. Okay, for letter D, we have another Department of the Interior. So remember, we index that as Interior Department, and then in parentheses is of the. Okay. And our next level 3 is Fish and Wildlife Service. Okay, notice that I'm still writing out any symbols, just like how we learned back in rule, or I don't even remember how long ago, but probably about 4 weeks ago. Okay, for letter E, we have another Department of the Interior, and it's the Bureau of Land Management. So the most important part of the department name is Interior, Department, in parentheses, we have of the. And then now when we do the level 3, we want to again focus on the most important part of this name. So Bureau isn't as important as Land Management. So Land Management Bureau of, in parentheses, is our level 3. For letter F, we have Federal Bureau of Prisons, Department of Justice. So for our level 2, that's going to be Justice, Department of, in parentheses, and then level 3. So this is the next important thing, Federal Bureau of Prisons. And so when I put this in for my level 3, this is going to be Federal. And Bureau isn't as important as prisons. So it's going to be Prisons, Bureau, and then of in parentheses. So Federal Prisons Bureau of. For letter G, we have Southwestern Power Administration as part of the Department of Energy. So energy is the most important part of the department name. Of is going to be in parentheses, and then Southwestern Power Administration. For letter H, we have Drug Enforcement Administration, which is part of the Department of Justice. So Justice, Department of. And for the Drug Enforcement Administration, we can index this as written. For letter I, we have the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which is part of the Department of Justice. So working with level 2 first and the name of the department, we have Justice Department of as level 2. And for our level 3, that's going to be Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Bureau of. Remember, Bureau of or administrations, that's not important as the actual names that we're working with. Finally, for letter J, we have Office of Fossil Energy, which is part of the Department of Energy. So Energy, Department of. Okay. And for the office name, Fossil Energy is the name of the office. So it'll be written as Fossil Energy Office of. Okay, so if we were to put all of these in order, the first level would be United States government for all of them. So that means we'd have to look at level 2. And so I'm going to disregard the example, just because that's an example. And I'm going to look at the first letter in each level 2. So I have an I, a J, I have an E here, another E, and finally another E. So because we have about 3 energy department ofs, I then need to look at level 3. So for this one, I have an N, this is an S, and here I have an F. So the Energy Department of Fossil Energy Office of, that's going to be filed first. Okay, and then the Energy Department of with National Nuclear Security is next because the N in National is before the S in Southwestern. Now that I've gotten through all of my E's, I want to go through the next letter, and that's going to be my I's. So I have quite a few, or maybe about 3 interior departments. I have one here, and another here. So because all of these are the same, I'm going to then go to my Unit 3 or Level 3. So this is National Park Service, this is Fish and Wildlife, and this is Land and Management. So the F in Fish and Wildlife would be filed first. And then the L in Land is filed before the N in National Park. So this is 5 and this is 6. Okay, now that I've gotten through my E's and my I's, I'm going to look at my J's. So here we have the Justice Department for our last 3. We have the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Drug Enforcement, Federal Prisons, and Marshals Service. So because level 3, I have an A in Alcohol, that's going to be filed next. So that's number 7. And then the D in Drug is before the F in Federal. So the Federal Prisons Bureau is 9. And the M in Marshals Service is last, and that will be number 10. So 10D is the very last of the rules, and 10D deals with foreign government names. So it says, begin by writing the English translation of the government name that's on the document or the piece of paper. And the English translated name is always going to be your key unit. It then says index the balance or the rest of the formal name of the government. Branches, departments, and divisions follow in order by their distinctive names, similar to how we've done with 10A through 10C. And then number 4 says, states, colonies, provinces, cities, and other divisions of foreign governments are followed by their distinctive or official names as spelled in English. So again, just like as you've seen earlier here, for American cities and states, you would do the same thing for foreign translations. So if the foreign government name is République de Guinée, and the English translation for that is the Republic of Guinea, my key unit, okay, is going to be the country name. So the most important part of that is Guinea. Unit 2 is Republic. Unit 3 is of. So remember, when we're filing these, we're going to file it by the English translation. Okay, so if this is a foreign government name and this is the English translation, Lithuania is going to be my key unit. Republic is Unit 2. Of is Unit 3. The same thing for Croatia. Croatia is my key unit. Republic is Unit 2. Of is Unit 3. Okay, for Ecuador, that's going to be Ecuador as my key unit. Republic as Unit 2. Of is Unit 3. Okay, Japan is simply Japan. For Republic of Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan is my key unit. Republic is Unit 2. And Unit 3 is of. And so the cross-references for Chapter 5 focuses on foreign names. So the steps here is to first identify the units in the filing segments. And just like when we had foreign government names, we want to code the English translation of the names. Remember, just by underlining the key unit and then labeling each of these as we did before. And then we need to write cross-references for the names that require them. And so here's an example of, let me just adjust this so it's a little bit easier to see here. Okay, so for Hotel Vir Jarnzijtien, hotel is my key unit. In my cross-reference card, Vir is Unit 2, Jarnzijtien is Unit 3, and the C notation is C Four Seasons Hotel. On the actual document that we're working on, we would write out Four Seasons Hotel, which is the English translation, underline our key unit, which is 4, and then label Seasons as Unit 2 and Hotel as Unit 3. Okay, so the English translations are given to us here in these examples. And so if I separate these, so the name of the republic, just like how we did here, is going to be our key unit. So Malta is our key unit. Then we have Republic, and then Unit 3 is of. Okay, so our cross-reference is going to be Republica, and I'm making sure that I don't misspell this. Okay, and just like before, I'm not including the punctuation marks. And so when I separate these into units, So Republica is going to be my key unit, Ta is unit 2, Malta is unit 3. Okay, and I've written the C notation, C, Malta Republic of, which is how we would have filed the English translation. Okay, for letter C, we have the European Society of Satellites. Okay, in this case, it's not a foreign country name, it's a business name. And because of that, European is our key unit, Society is unit 2, of is unit 3, and satellites is unit 4. So my cross-reference, and I'm going to copy and paste this so I don't waste too much time here, is going to look like this. I'm separating each of those. If that's my key unit, this is unit 2, this is unit 3, this is unit 4. My C notation would be C, European Society of Satellites. Okay, this one we have the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. So the name of the country is Venezuela. Okay, next is Bolivarian, which is my unit 2. Unit 3 is Republic. Unit 4 is of. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste my key unit or my foreign name to save some time here. So this would be my key unit. Bolivariana is 2, De is unit 3, and Venezuela is unit 4. And so my C notation would be C, Venezuela. Bolivarian Republic of. Okay, here we have the Two Lions Restaurant, which is a business name. And remember, as we learned a few weeks ago, that if a business name begins with the word the, it's the last unit. And so that means the word two is our key unit. That would be unit 4. Lions is unit 2. Restaurant is unit 3. So our cross-reference would have the original untranslated name. Here's my key unit. Here's unit 2, and here's unit 3. And it would say C, Two Lions, Restaurant, the. Okay, for the final example, we have the Kingdom of Norway. So I can separate these. The actual name is Norway, which is going to be our key unit. Kingdom is unit 2, of is unit 3. For my cross-reference for this, I'm going to index that as written. So here's my key unit, here's unit 2, and finally my C notation is C, Norway, Kingdom of.